Yeah, most definitely, man. So you was in the Philippines. How was that like?
Philippines, bro, it's the same, man. It's even more. The Philippines is even more third world. That's really a third world. Vietnam is cool. You know what I'm saying? See, one thing about Vietnam, bro, Vietnam culture. I love Vietnam culture. And let's get back over there before we talk about the Philippines, because so Vietnam culture, I have like an affinity with Vietnamese people, right? And my affinity is
It's
that,
real close to Chinese people though. It's
yeah,
like the cultures are very similar.
right. But even before like the culture thing, because I didn't experience that, what the affinity I have is during the Vietnam War. What year was the Vietnam War? Um,
Mm,
it was before my time, right? But I was born a little bit after it. You know what I'm saying? Not too far off from it. So um I grew up hearing about Vietnam a lot. You know what I'm saying? In school, I heard about it. We were being taught about it. The news was still talking about it. Movies had Vietnam in it. All the movies that was coming up around when I was growing up had it. You know what I'm saying? Everything from Forrest Gump to every other movie. Vietnam was very strong in American media when I was growing up. You know what I mean? Uh, um, the story of Vietnam and how Vietnam stood up to America. Like I heard that so many times. You know what I mean? So I always had this, and I wasn't Vietnamese, but me being an Asian American, I felt that. I felt that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of like, excuse me, a couple times, you know, um, I faced the brunt of a lot of Vietnamese jokes and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm Asian and people really didn't understand the difference. But I had affinity to the Vietnamese because of their strength, and then after that, the Vietnamese came to Chinatown in New York, right? And during that time, my father was like, in the gangs in Chinatown, they basically ran Chinatown. The Vietnamese came during that time, and they they the Chinese ran Chinatown at the time. But then when the Vietnamese came, the Chinese was kind of like giving them the cold shoulder, treating them bad, like you know what I'm saying, like yo, like kind of just like not welcoming them because they already had this shit locked. They're not trying to share anything with anybody new. And the Vietnamese came, they was not having it. They was not having it. They started getting it crazy, and they was on it. They fought for their respect. You know what I'm saying? And even though, as when I was in the gang, um, we fought the Vietnamese tooth and nail. Like that was one of our biggest enemies as a kid. B.T.K, Born to Kill. Like they killed a couple of my homies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I watched this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Uh, but they never they never backed down. Like they had this they had this warrior spirit. And even when even they was my enemies, but when you come across an opponent that is like worthy, that is like somebody that's like like you see like nah, they for real, you respect them. You know what I'm saying? So I always had respect for them. And even when I was in prison, Rikers Island, when I was in Rikers Island, when I was upstate, the people that really fought for Asian like presence, it wasn't the Chinese people. It wasn't like fucking. It was the Vietnamese people. They was getting it crunk. They was getting it lit. They was getting it popping for the Asian people. And the Asian people, Chinese people, other people, we lived off of that. You know what I'm saying? So I always respected the Vietnamese people for their like, they was like little. They be like this big, bro, like little motherfuckers, but they had the heart of. They had crazy heart. You know what I'm saying? Crazy heart, and I always respected that. So, for me to go to Vietnam, it felt like, damn, you know what I mean? Like I kind of like, and also how Vietnam fought America, bro. Like, and then once I started reading and really reading and doing the history on Vietnam, yo, they didn't back down to America. They did not back down to America. They said they fought. You know what I'm saying? And they gave America a L. A lot of people ain't gonna admit it, but they gave America a L. Little ass Vietnam gave big ass America a L. So I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? So me just going to that country, I was just like, I was I was just like, I had huge admiration, huge respect for Vietnam. So when I went to the country, I noticed one thing because I went to Thailand first. I went to Bangkok first. When I went to Bangkok, I went for Bangkok for 3 days, right? And then immediately when I went to Bangkok, what I saw was a lot of foreigners. I saw how the country really like catered to the foreigners, how Thailand really like appease the foreigners. They let the foreigners really basically take over. You know what I'm saying? To a certain extent. You know what I mean? But then when I went to Vietnam, it was different. You know what I mean? As soon as I went in to get my visa in the country, there were like there were a couple white people there. One had tattoos on their face, the other whatever. They denied them. Like, nah, we don't want you. Like we good. So Vietnam is very like controlling in terms of who they're letting in their country and what they're letting foreigners do in their country. Like in Thailand, it's easier for you to buy property, do this, open business, this, that. In Vietnam, ain't doing that. The country is not letting foreigners come in their country and dictate what's going on. And I felt like, damn, that's the spirit of Vietnamese. Like they're gonna control their shit and they're not gonna let nobody else come fuck with their shit. And it's gonna be their shit. You know what I'm saying? Even, regardless of what they gotta go through or whatever is their shit. You know what I mean? And I felt that as soon as I was going into the country. They have pride in they have pride in their culture, they have pride in their country. Even the poor people, they got pride. Like they you know what I'm saying? So I felt that and I love that. You know what I mean?